Hey, welcome to the podcast today. My name's Jonathan Myers, and I appreciate you guys getting on board to listen. We're going to be talking about sales and increasing your numbers and what you can do to actually affect them. One of the biggest things that people are looking to do is how to double your sales. And or not even just double it, they just want to get more sales. Whether it's quadruple, double, increase it a little bit, who cares? They just want to increase them. Um, Look, at the end of the day, if you don't know your numbers, then you're not going to be able to do this. Like, you've got to be able to measure your numbers. You've got to be able to be that kind of person that monitors and puts everything down because you need to know your metrics. That's what we call this. If you don't know your metrics, you're not going to know where to start. Now, and it's going to seem a lot ass backwards, but in order to actually increase your sales, you have to know where you want to get. Let's just say you want to double your sales by the end. Let's say in the next month or two, you want to double them, right? So, all right, let's say you're making 10 sales, you're about 10 sales a month, whatever. Okay, now you want to make 20 sales. So what do you have to do? Okay, now you know you have to make 20. Work from your metrics that you know. You know, with 10 meetings or with 10 sales, you've probably have to get about whatever your conversion rate is going to be times 10. So let's say you convert, we're just going to go with the basic number of 25%. So 1 out of 4. 1 out of every 4 is what you convert on a typical basis. So to get 10 appointments, what are you going to have to do? You're going to have to take 40 meetings. All right, now you already know you want to double your numbers, right? You already know you want to double your sales. We're not talking tactics. We're not talking anything else. We're talking one of the easiest ways to double your sales. Okay, without changing anything else, which I highly always recommend changing your tactics and making them better, but without changing anything else, okay, so now you're going to double your 40 meetings because you know you want to make 20 sales at the end of the month. So now you want to make 80 meetings. You get 80 meetings and you're closing 25%, you're going to get 20 sales. It's as simple as that. Okay, so now you got 80 meetings. So what does it take to get 80 meetings? Okay, well, going back to your original formula, 1 out of every 4 closes, and you normally close on 10 appointments a month, so you normally have 40 appointments, right? Okay, now let's just say, let's go with easy numbers and say you have going from there, you have like a 3% appointment book rate, all right? So you send out 100 emails a day, you send out 100 connections a day, whatever it is that you do for your outreach, and you typically put about 3 meetings out of every 100, right? Or out of every outreach, okay? So you're going to have to work some numbers here. In fact, let me get the calculator out, and you're going to need a calculator. Don't try doing all this on top of your head like I do. So you have 300 coming in, or you have 100 meetings out of every 100, or oh my goodness gracious, I'm so sorry I can't talk right now. So out of every 100 outreach, out of every 100 touches to somebody, you book 3 meetings. All right, so you need 80 because you're doubling, right? You're not doing 40 anymore. You're doing 80 appointments. So let's go ahead and do the math here. To get 80 meetings, you're going to need, so as I was mentioning earlier, 100 divided by 3 equals what? It's 33.33333. You know the number. So this is why it makes it so much easier. Just, going with metrics, doing the calculator, getting it out, write it down on paper. To book 1 meeting, it takes 33.33 calls or touches or emails, whatever the hell you want. Now multiply that times 80. You need to make 2,666 touches, 2,666 calls, emails, whatever it may be. All right. Now that doesn't necessarily mean to 2,666 people. It just means you need to touch this many times. It doesn't necessarily mean on one person either. You touch somebody 2,666 times on one person, you're not going to get 80 meetings. It's only one person. So you got to make sure you're reaching out to people and individuals, respond to people, get back to them on their emails, get back on some topics that you want to talk about, find some platforms you want to reach out with, and focus on that only. Don't get every platform you could possibly think of if you're not used to that already, or if you don't have the manpower or time. You will overburden yourself and overburn out. Now, again, 2,666 touches seems like a lot. It really does. But in all reality, it's really not. You know how many times somebody can actually, you know how many phone calls you can make in a week just calling 2 hours a week? You can make about 500 phone calls. Easy. That's easy. All right. So you're dividing that alone in 2 hours in 4 weeks because you're trying to do 80 meetings in a month, not in a week. So at the end of the month, you're hitting already 2,000 touches. That's just with phone calls alone. We're not including email campaigns. We're not including outreach with LinkedIn or anything like that. All right, so now we know the backwards metrics of you need 2,666 touches to get 80 meetings. We worked backwards, going based off your original, getting 40 appointments a month, but you want to double that because 40 appointments equals 10 sales for you. So now you want to double that. Now you know you need to get 80 appointments. In order to get 80 appointments, you need to get you have a 3% meeting conversion booking rate. So now you know you need to talk to people 2,666 times. So now the other thing you got to know, how are you going to do that? What are you going to do? That goes back to what I was talking about. Find a platform, start doing outreach. Just start talking. Designate 2 or 3 hours a day just to do this. That is it. I'm not saying that's all you need to do or that's all you want to do. I'm saying that's all you need to do. It's not going to, it doesn't, people hate doing outreach. I don't understand why, because that's what is going to keep your business alive. Obviously, if you have inbound, you're good to go. That's great. But the problem with inbound is you don't control that fluctuation. It's the economy does. And it's great when they come in because they're easy to convert. Like you can have 90% conversion rates all day long on inbound, 90% plus. On outbound, it's a little lower because you're having to, not necessarily convince them, but you're having to show them, hey, you're the person with the solution. All right. So outbound is a little more difficult, but you control it. It doesn't matter what the economy looks like. What the economy will affect is, how many more people are going to say no. Your conversion rates will drop a little bit, but guess what? Just amp up your numbers and you'll replace that. You'll fix that right up. So the thing you need to focus on now, you already know you want to increase your sales. You know how to increase your sales. You know how to work backwards to figure out where you need to get to in order to increase your sales. And again, this is not the only way to increase your sales. You can increase your sales through tactics, through other things as well. But this is one of the most surefire ways to increase your sales. Just double your numbers. Now, if you don't have the manpower to double your numbers, if you're a one-man team and you're doing, 80 appointments a month is going to be, let's say you take 6 appointments a day. That 80 appointments a month is quite a bit. 80 brand new appointments is quite a bit to keep stacking up because you're not including your presentations. You're not including, if you have them, if you do 2 call closes or 3 call closes, depending who you outreach for. If you do B2C, it's not often you really have multiple calls. You can do 1 call closes on those pretty easily. But if you're doing B2B, there's a lot of processes to work through. You got to work with the business and their system and their board process. So you have to include all these too. So 80 appointments is quite a bit. You've got to think about how many people that you want to, you're going to need to bring on board for all this stuff. Because you can try to take 80 appointments, you're going to be slammed. But again, one-man shows, you got to bring people on board. So you got to think about what you got to do now to help make this happen. If you can do it on your own, that's great. Do it. But keep in mind, you got to keep in the follow-ups. You got to keep in the presentation rates. You got to keep in the fact that you got to do the agreements. And if there's any questions about the agreements, when you got to get back on a call for that or even just email back and forth, you got to think about all of this. So make sure you're prepped for that. The final thing you have to do with everything, put it on paper. Put it in your scheduling. If it's not in your schedule, it's not going to happen. I don't know how there are some people who can do this. Some people can go out there and just wing it and do a great day. And not even just a great day. This is how they do it all day long. They just wing it. And I can't do that. If it's not on paper, it's not going to happen. If it's not written down in my calendar, it's not going to happen. So what I do specifically, and I've mentioned this in one of the other podcasts, is I designate times specifically for outreach. Before noon is nothing but outreach. That's all I do. That's all I'll ever do is just outreach. I won't do anything else related to anything unless absolutely necessary, like an urgent agreement or let's talk about like an appointment that couldn't be made in the afternoon because they're in a different time zone that doesn't allow them to be in that time or they're usually asleep or something, something like that, then okay. Then I'll make an appointment or two in the morning. But it doesn't happen often. Um, Most of the time, to help with the outreach, I have a lot of VAs that'll help me with everything in regards to making sure all the intangibles that need to get done, get done. And that's the thing, outsource. Outsource on the things you don't need to do. You will save yourself such a huge headache, and you'll allow yourself to actually grow. I know it's kind of nerve-wracking to trust somebody else with some work, but when you get those assistants on board and they're trained properly and you find the right ones, it's totally worth it. It really is. All that time that you're spending on things you don't need to be doing are then dedicated to better sources such as outreach or building the business itself. So don't forget to do that. Don't forget to get in there, schedule an appointment. And I'm going to give you an example of what I do. Just a small example, 7 to 8 a.m., do outreach on a specific platform of some sort. And then, 8 to 9, I'll work on, content creation, something like that, Facebook, LinkedIn, whatever it is. Something that's going to be enticing, something that's going to provide value, something that's going to help people out, something that's going to, make it, you want to show that you're an expert. If you're not doing that, then, what's the point? Don't go out there. It's okay to brag about numbers. Hey, I made a sale. Whoop-de-doo. Awesome. Or I have XYZ going on. That's great. Because, it's proof. People love proof. It's a great way to attract attention. Don't just make your posts of that, though. Actually teach people while you're doing stuff. Now, another example, like, after 8 to 9, 9 a.m. to 10 a.m., I'll work on something like my emails, the campaigns, the setups, that process. Because that's what's going to make me money. Once that gets going, and it's outreaching, it's doing everything it needs to do, and then you go from 10 a.m. to 11 a.m. I'll work on some more responses. People have messaged me back at this time. They've already responded to things I've sent out. So I'll start reaching back out on my responses. And then, 11 a.m. to 12 p.m., I'll actually get on the phone and call people. You've got to do that. Don't be afraid of the phone. And if you do it right, it's going to help you so much with setting appointments because you're going to be able to talk to them, have that human interaction. Be like, hey, bro, I sent you a phone. Don't say bro. But, hey, bro, I sent you a call or I sent you an email a couple of days ago. Just, and just start talking. Like, throw in your elevator pitch. Throw in your value proposition. Don't pitch them in the sales-like manner. Pitch them in a friendly manner. Be like, hey, we just helped a company over here book 25 solid appointments. Out of those 25, they ended up closing on 8 clients. And, with you being in the digital marketing agency, that's what we specialize in. I'll just kind of see if you can have room for more clients. Simple as that. Done. Boom. Okay, cool. Yes or no. Or they'll tell you, hey, take me off your list. One of the two. Don't get butthurt, though. And that's what they mean by take all emotions off the table. People are going to tell you things that are going to hurt your feelings or that are going to make you, want to go and just binge eat on an entire pizza. Just like, oh, you know what? Forget you, man. Don't worry about that. Don't do that. It happens. All right. And it's not even just for when they say leave emotions off the table, they're not just talking about during the closing session. Like during the cold calling process, during emails, you're going to see so much that will aggravate you, and you just gotta be cool with it. Be like, hey, I've had people tell me, you know what, I don't like doing spam messages, and this is exactly what it is. It was their very first email they ever got, and it was literally personalized because I literally hand wrote it myself. And I'm here just like, bro, this is like the complete opposite of spam. I just messaged you once. And not only that, it wasn't even automated. But anyways, I remember that specifically, and I'm here just like, he does not even know the definition of spam. But yeah, so what I was saying with that, make sure you have a schedule and make sure you know your numbers. To increase your sales, start from the very end. Where are you now? Where do you want to be? Okay? You're doing 10 appointments or you're doing 10 closes a month on average right now. How many meetings does it take? You close at a 25% meeting book rate or you close on a 25% conversion rate. Then, okay, you're going to need 40 appointments to close 10. All right? Now, you want to double everything, so just double the number. You want to close 80 appointments, or you want to close on 20 appointments and convert them into new clients. Okay, well, now you need 80 meetings. And now you need 2,666 touches. Okay, cool, because you have a 3% meeting book rate. And, for you to find out what your meeting percent book rate is, all you have to do is just get a good number, call. What I would do is just call 100 people, email 100 people, whatever it is, and see how many meetings you get out of it. And divide 100 by however meetings you get. You'll have your meeting percentage book rate. There are better platforms than others to do the book rate. And now, if you're busy, what I recommend is like too busy to make phone calls, then I recommend doing email. Um, to be honest, I don't recommend doing phone calls straight off the bat without them knowing who you are. And by that, they don't have to read your emails. They don't have to know exactly who you are, but at least send out a few emails prior to calling, because that will help you out tremendously on increasing your book rating for appointments when you call them. Whether they read the email or not, they'll see it go by and they'll be like, oh man, this guy's real. Okay, cool. As opposed to automate, because they know business people aren't dumb. They're in business. They just developed their own business and grew, most of them. So they're not dumb. You got to let them, got to accept and respect that. So reference things that that they as an intelligent human being would appreciate. Hey, it's Jonathan Myers calling. I called you. I actually sent you an email a few days ago. Reason for the call, XYZ. And, give them time to talk and time to respond, and push forward. But don't be too patient, all right? Now, that brings me up to another topic, and this is going to be kind of a longer podcast that kind of just branched out on a whole other branch. Patience is not always the best thing to have. It's great to have, don't get me wrong. But, so I was listening to a podcast the other day from one of my other guys that I like listening to, and he was talking about patience being a bad thing. What ended up happening as a baby, he drank some, what did he drink? Tannerite? Not Tannerite. He drank something. Anyways, I forgot what it was. It was some sort of cleaner agent as a baby. And he was just told this story, so he doesn't know exactly how accurate it is. But his parents came in the kitchen and found him just on the ground blue. They rushed him to the hospital, got him there. And the doctor or the nurse was just adamant about like, yeah, your child's dead. She was obviously very respectful about it, but long story short, she's like, your child's dead. There's nothing we can do. Well, the father ended up just, rightfully like any other father should do, stormed into the ER like, I want you to work this baby now. There is a chance. I don't remember if he said he was still breathing, or I don't remember all those details. He just said he was blue. And, for the sake of just to show that they did something, the doctor came in and just went ahead and like, okay, well, we're going to work the baby. Long story short, they worked the baby. Instead of listening to the nurse, what the nurse told him to do, just sit here and wait and be patient. The doctor worked the baby because the father went in there and stormed into the ER because he was not patient. And because of that, the baby ended up living, which was the guy who, actually, you guys might have heard of him. His name's Bradley, but which is who he is today. He wouldn't be here if his dad didn't do that. Now, the same thing goes for when we're out there helping people. We're out there closing on people. We're here to provide them a solution, all right? And, I'll think about it. Or, I got to talk to my partner and stuff like that, which that one's fine because in B2B world, they do have to talk to their partners. They're not going to just go signing something without their talking to their board, their partners, or things like that. And don't disrespect that. Respect what they're saying, but make sure it's actually what they're saying. And by that, that's what I mean by don't be patient. Ask questions. Why? Why do you have to don't go, why do you have to ask your wife? Don't do that. But, think of certain ways to do things. One of his famous lines was, okay, so if this was free today, would you get it? And they'll be like, yeah, of course I'd get it. See, you don't have to ask your wife then. So what's the real deal? Lay it all on the table. What's concerning you right now? Something like that. And get to the real reason why they're not moving forward today. Now, again, if they have to talk to their partner, if they have to talk to their wife, okay, cool. Well, you need 2 or 3 days. All right, so let's go ahead and put it in the calendar then. If you're serious about this, let's book a time. We'll talk. Give you time to talk to your wife. And in fact, and even better, let's call her right now. Let's call her right now, see what's up. Let's call your partner right now, see what's up. Obviously, if it's a bunch of board members, you can't call a bunch of board members right now. But, whatever it is. But yeah, make sure you follow through everything to see how you can help them make the decision. That's what you need to focus on, how you can help them make a decision, okay? And that'll also increase your sales. So back to the whole patience thing, though, and I hate to compare it this way because I'm not going to say you want to be a devil's advocate here, but, you have the little angel on your shoulder, on your right shoulder, and you have the little devil on your left shoulder, right? So the angel's always telling you to do the right thing, and just sit there and listen to your elders, pay attention, and don't open your mouth, kind of thing. Be patient. And this is where I really hate to say it, because I mean, the devil is the one always telling you to move forward. Just do it, push forward, whatever. You kind of want to listen to that little devil on the shoulder right now when it comes to this, like, because every salesperson has it within them. If they're a true salesperson, if they're a true closer, they have that voice in the shoulder that tells them, you know what to do. You know what questions to ask. Just ask them. Quit being a little chicken butt about it. That's exactly what it's saying. And you want to follow through with that. And again, I don't really want to say, for the devils, because I'm not trying to do evil here. But I'm trying to say, don't be patient about it. Don't take their, I'll talk to you next week about it. All right. Now, again, if that's their final ultimate choice, they really have to talk to you. You tried 3 or 4 times, 4 or 5 times even. You've been on the phone an extra 30 minutes, battling their nose. And they've said no after no after no after no after no, but in a different way, because you're not going to just constantly be asking them, questions that revolve around no. You're going to try to be asking their whys, right? And they ultimately come out to a no. Then okay, sure. Then okay, well, I mean, find out how serious they are. Don't just say, hey, I'll follow back up with you if they are serious. Which, if they are serious, I don't see why they're still saying no at this point. But if they do need that follow-up, like 2 or 3 days, maybe they just need to get the money. They don't have the money right now, regardless of what payment plans you have. Then, okay. All right, Joe. So 2 weeks from now. No, don't do 2 weeks from now. Next week, you said you're getting paid. Why don't we do this? Let's go ahead and schedule a phone call for that afternoon. You should have you time to have your finances adjusted. You already have time between now and then to think about it, right? Yeah, I mean, I should. Okay, cool. And, price aside, you said you were serious about the product because you liked everything they offered to help you with XYZ solution, correct? Yeah, I did. Okay, so, and that's going to help you do what again? Oh, you're not going to run through it. Okay, cool. All right, so let's do this. Let's go ahead and put you in a time for 3 p.m. next Friday, and we'll get on the call. We'll walk you through everything, what we're going to do for you, how we're going to help you alleviate XYZ and start bringing you some clients and do this or do that. How's that sound? Oh, yeah, it sounds great. Okay, cool. Awesome. Email, blah, 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 whatever. Now, ask them a question and be careful while you ask them. Don't be in a negative manner. Be like, hey, so is there anything that wouldn't keep you or that would keep you from making this meeting next week? Don't ask them if that's the only thing you pop off, then great, whatever. But make sure that they're going to be committed. Like, okay, Joe, so, I'm putting this down, man. So I'm expecting your 100% commitment to this because I'm giving you my 100% commitment. I'll be seeing you next Friday, right? Yeah, absolutely. Okay, cool. I mean, man, we're totally excited. I know we can help you. Let's do this and go through. So that's, in essence, another way to increase your sales. That's increasing and bettering your tactics. Now, there's going to be some people listening, you know better ways to do it. That's great. Everybody has their own individual way they can do it. Everybody's always learning. Sales never stays stagnant. Never stay stagnant in your whatever it is you're doing. Always be learning and ABL and always be closing, and they don't necessarily, there's some people that take it differently. Always be closing is not necessarily like always be closing for your on your service specifically. Always be closing on that next step. Always. All right. Even if it's disqualification, disqualify them. Get them out the door if they're not going to be fit for the program. Whether it's not something they're looking for because they don't need it, because you don't want just anybody that's not going to need your service because they're not going to stick around, especially if you're a retainer-based service. And then they're just going to have a bad experience. That's just not going to do well for you. And, always be closing on that next step. Okay, cool. So for business propositions, they have a certain process they have to go through. All right, cool. So, all right, Joe. So we're supposed to be meeting with the board of advisors next week. Tell me, what were their names again? Okay, and then find out their names. Okay. So, and do you happen to have their emails? I'm gonna send them an invite as well to make sure they're on the call. Yeah. Okay, cool. Blah blah blah. Sometimes they don't always have to go through that process. There's a few businesses out there where they have a head person that they trust as a right-hand person, and they just have to bring the information to the board. And even in that case, still try to include somebody else, whether it's from the board or the head decision maker overall, like whether it's the CEO, which is going to be very hard because they are very busy. But ultimately, if that right hand man is the only person you talk to, then, and it's the only one that makes the choice after the decision maker approves it, then, cool. Because there's been some people where the CEO trusts this guy like nobody's business, and he will just say, if you think it's great, great, we'll move forward. And that's literally what they'll do. So, get everybody you need to on the calls, first and foremost. Know your metrics, work them backwards, and hit those metrics every week. And, play devil's advocate. Listen to the devil on your shoulder. Be good, though. Do it for good. Don't just do it to, be annoying. That sucks for everybody. And have fun on your calls. When you're doing your cold calls and you're doing your sales calls, don't stress. Just have fun. Just be like, hey, it's a good time, right? Like, no, this is not a good time. What's a good time for me? But, all right. That's pretty much it. Follow me on Facebook. Follow me on LinkedIn. Facebook's facebook.com/THE Jonathan, JONATHAN, Myers, MEYERS. Facebook.com/the Jonathan Myers. LinkedIn's the same thing. LinkedIn /the IN /the Jonathan Myers. Find me on there. DM me if you have any questions. I'll be more than happy to get with you. And remember, if you need any consulting or any coaching or anything like that, ask me for some more information on that. I'll be more than happy to walk you through some stuff and see how we can help you scale to the next level and get your sales up. Otherwise, everybody have a great day today and go make some sales. Go crush it.